Sorry.
Drop the ball.
I better start rolling.
Good to see you.
Let's hug.
It's good to see you.
Hug. Let's hug. With the yes. Okay, let's do it. High five. Fist bump. Hug. Handshake. Oh, that's so
Fun and an epidemic. You gotta laugh at something.
I love
or
my
you'll
job.
cry at everything.
Oh, you love your job. High five. Kiss.
Hello there, First Church. I'm Andrew Thompson, and I'm here with Reverend Jen Ryerson, our pastor of Congregational Care, and we are here to bring you our first Mission Monday video. So, Jen, I got a few things that I want to ask you about that I think it would be helpful for our congregation to know. One of the things that we think is important that everybody knows is that we are still doing mission and outreach, those ministries which are so vital to the life of our congregation. We're just finding some different kind of creative ways to go about those. So let's talk about some of them, especially Daily Bread, because that's a ministry that has not contracted at all. It's done just the opposite. It's expanded since we've had to start doing the social distancing. So tell us a little bit about Daily Bread, if you will, and what's going on with that.
Yeah, Daily Bread ran this week on Wednesday and Friday. You and I both actually took some pictures while we were out there. We posted them on our Facebook page. Wednesday, I believe we served close to 200 people, if not a little bit more. And Friday, I know for sure that we were just over 200 that we served meals to. And so Wednesday, we were actually serving hot meals. And so they were coming out. I actually opened and peeked in some of them, and they smelled really good. So we were serving chicken and hot mashed potatoes and gravy and beans and potatoes, and so they were getting a hot meal on Wednesday along with bags of apples and onions and grapefruit and of course dessert, which was good. There was lots of really good cookies and everything. Friday we did a brown bag style, and so Friday we were handing out brown bags or sack lunches to the people coming up. And so it's a really good opportunity to serve for those of you in our congregation that want to serve. That would be a great way for you to do that. We just stand right out here in the, what do we call that, the portico?
Yeah, the covered drive there. That's one thing, because we're not actually bringing people into the Family Life Center.
Right there.
Yeah.
So Daily Bread used to be that we would come inside into the Family Life Center to sit down at tables and eat. But now Janelle has it set up that nobody comes inside, and so I don't know if you saw how they had the cones marked out there, so that they're driving in one direction, coming through the portico. And then that's where they stop and receive their order just right through the window. Our people are wearing gloves. And so we're just kind of we ask them how many meals do you need, and then they tell us. And then we just hand it right through their window, and then they go ahead and just drive off. So that, again, is a drive-through system right now.
And it's so important that we do that when the schools are shut down, and we know a lot of our families here in Springdale rely on the local schools for their children to receive both breakfast and lunch. And so it's so important that we're not only continuing to do that, but that we've expanded it to a second day on Fridays as well.
Right, and Janelle Slider has such a wonderful system set up. I mean, not only were those of us standing outside doing the food distribution, but the behind the scenes in the kitchen, there's so much going on in there. There's the meals are getting packaged up in these styrofoam containers, and so there's a lot of hands that are required to make this happen every Wednesday and Friday now throughout. I mean, we'll continue to do that for as long as we can.
Absolutely. And I know that she's had some great volunteer help. I know that Josh Dupree, our youth minister, has been getting youth involved. And it's good to see people coming together for that.
It is. And so the Daily Bread hours are 10:45 we begin, and then we'll go until 12:15. So we'll go for an hour and a half Wednesday and Friday. And so for that, if you want to volunteer, I would just say to call the front office and just let Krista Williams know that they're interested in volunteering for Daily Bread, and we'll get you in touch with Janelle.
That's great. Let's talk a little bit about the Bread of Life too. That's our food assistance ministry that operates just the block to the south of here on Emma. And we had a week off. The Bread of Life was not in operation last week, but we're starting back this week, and so that's going to be done a little bit differently as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So this past week, we were shut down because they were in there. We were cleaning everything. I shouldn't say we. I was not cleaning over there. There were many other people over there cleaning and sanitizing, making preparations, laying out items that we're going to be giving. I know. Well, one of the gentlemen from over there emailed me and said he's got the stations pretty much set up, gloves, masks, things like that. So that's going to look really different than it usually does as well. And it's going to take a lot of hands working and volunteering. So again, it's a drive up system. The hours will be 9 to 11:30 on Wednesday, 9 to 11:30 on Thursday as well, which are the same hours that we usually operate by. But according to the new mandate, everything has to be done drive-through. So again, that's a little bit of a different system than what we're doing with Daily Bread, because that's a client check-in system.
Sure.
And so we're going to need people there walking out to the cars, getting driver's license, running back in, checking their record, if they're a new client or an existing client. There's going to be a lot with that process. But we're going to do it. We're going to do it.
Absolutely.
And again, it will be a great opportunity for our congregation to serve if they're willing and able to do so.
I was talking to Josh Bland yesterday. Josh is on paternity leave because he and Rachel have a new little one at home, and he was telling me yesterday on the phone that some of our regular volunteers for TBOL are actually going to stay home because we have some older members of the congregation, some that have some complicated health conditions, and they really need to be staying at home. And so there is the opportunity for some new volunteers to come in if we have people. And so what should they do if they want to volunteer, if we have people in the church?
With Josh being on paternity leave right now, if you want to volunteer for the Bread of Life, I would say contact the front office, talk to Krista Williams, or you can contact me directly with text message or email or phone call. Because I'm going to try to, with Josh on paternity leave, I'll be over there doing everything that I can to help. And so, some of our elderly people do need to stay at home, and it is a time for them to not be around a lot of other people. And so even teenagers, I think that the Bread of Life would be fine to have some youth volunteers also. I'm sure that there's many things, even if we keep them inside, there's jobs that will be good for inside that you don't have to have contact with anybody coming, or there will be jobs that you can do where you can be walking out to the people's cars. And masks and gloves will be necessary. And important at this time. So
for both of those, 751-4610, that is the local number here to the church office, and Crystal Williams will be here this week fielding calls, I'm sure, from a lot of people, and we would love to get some people that would be willing, that have the time and ability to help out with these important forms of outreach. So there's one other thing that I wanted to bring up. I'm actually pretty excited about this. It's kind of a caring ministry for our congregation. We put it out a week ago about anyone who would be willing to help make some phone calls and just check in on some of our older members of our congregation and some of those who really are going to be staying at home completely. And we had an overwhelming response. And so can you talk a little bit about what that ministry is going to look like?
So this is, as Andrew said, this is part of our congregational caring ministry. And we did have so many of you volunteer. It was amazing. It was a social media post, I think, that you had done. And it was incredible, the response that we had of people wanting to help. So what we've done is Andrew and Joanna and I have taken the list of volunteers who offered their services, and we've also taken a list of our congregation members who are age 70 and older. And we have ran a list of those persons, and it's kind of going to be like a buddy system. We could come up with something really catchy to call it, but
Todd called it your COVID companion.
Pastor Todd called it your COVID companion. We almost were about to say your virus buddy.
That's right.
But then we realized that probably was not. It's probably not. Hey, I'm going to go call my virus buddy.
That's right.
So let's just refer to this as our caring ministry. And so each person that has said that they want to serve is getting a buddy, a caring buddy, and we're just asking that they call their buddy once a week, check on them. There might be something that your buddy needs, because almost everybody right now, we know the number one need right now is what? Toilet paper.
That's right.
Right? Everybody wants toilet paper. In fact, you and I were just talking about it yesterday.
Yes, we were.
On the search for toilet paper.
I found some for my family for the first time in a week, which was a great thing for all of us.
So just our caring buddy, check on the person. We want them to, number one, ask about physical needs. Is there anything that you need? Is there any prescriptions that you might need us to pick up for you? Is there any groceries that you need? If we're still doing doctor's appointments, do you need someone to run you to the doctor? Things like that. So that's the number one thing. Then we want to ask about their emotional needs.
Yes.
Especially those who are quarantined by themselves right now. We do have a lot of our elderly people who are in rehab facilities or nursing homes, things like that, where they do have contact, they do have people checking in on them. But we do also have a lot of people in our church family that are living alone.
Yeah.
And so it's very important that we're reaching out to those people who are alone and might be in need. But also a really important thing is just to check, like we said, on their emotional well-being.
Yeah.
How are you doing? How are you feeling? And if there are concerns, then we, Andrew and I and Pastor Todd and Pastor Danny, we want to be made aware of those.
Sure.
And so if there are greater pastoral needs, that we can get involved with the Caring Buddy system. We can also offer, our Stephen ministry is a wonderful ministry. And so we have Stephen ministers that we can offer as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that emotional outreach is so important, just so people will know that there's somebody thinking about them and caring about them.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't live by myself. I live in a house full of people and animals. And I have experienced frustration over this, and this kind of, you almost feel exasperated, like all these things you're used to doing, well, we're made as social creatures. I mean, God made us for each other, and we're not even supposed to touch each other now,
Right.
And it's emotionally, I think immediately that starts to do something to you.
It does.
We want people to be reaching out to each other and to remind each other. This is a reminder for all of us that we are a family. We're a church family, and we care for each other. And we care for each other. We can do that because Jesus cares so much for us. And so this is a way to just share that love and compassion of Jesus, one person with another.
Right. And we talk so much about our relationship with other people. It's a communal relationship. These are our community. This is a community of believers of faith. And so it's important. And like you're saying, some of us are in homes where there's 6 people. Some of us are in homes where there's 2 people. In all honesty, I think we're all experiencing different emotional feelings. Some moments, I think some of us who have really busy, crazy households, we might feel stress and just, oh my goodness, I need to get out, outside. And but other people who might be by themselves are feeling emotion in a completely different way.
Yeah.
And so it's important that we're making sure that we're checking in with each other. And so our buddy system, if you've volunteered, you will shortly, maybe Monday or Tuesday, early this week, you'll be getting an email from the church letting you know who your buddy is, giving you their contact information. Another important, very, very important part of this caring ministry and buddy system is that we're offering prayer. And so if you're being called, or if you're a person who's calling someone else, praying with each other.
Yep.
I mean, as your sermon this morning, this is a very important time for us to be in prayer for each other.
Yeah.
And so some people aren't going to be very comfortable with that, offering a prayer, but
we'll help them out though, won't we?
that's right. Yes, we are. We are going to help you out. So if you are checking on someone, we will offer you some prayer assistance.
Right.
But I would highly encourage a time of prayer.
Yes.
With your buddy.
It's a great way to finish up a phone conversation.
Sure it is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we will send them a sample prayer if they are not comfortable praying on their own.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's great. That's going to be a way that we are going to, I just continue to believe that God is going to allow us to use this situation, not a situation that any of us would have chosen, but there can be something redeeming that comes out of it. And I think that part of what can be redeeming out of this entire thing is just a reminder of how important each other is and those relationships are, and how important it is to know that the church is a family. I mean, the New Testament calls the church the household of God. It calls the church the body of Christ, and we are meant to be together. And this is just a reminder of that, and it's giving us the opportunity to grow in our relationship with God and with one another.
Right. And it's an important time for us to also be reaching out to the community.
Yes,
and this is a way that we can share the love of Jesus Christ with other people.
Amen.
And spread the gospel. So these are very important times we find ourselves in.
Yes,
very
they are.
Uncertain, but
God is with us.
God is with us. That's right.
Always.
That's right.
Well, thanks for tuning in for this first installment of Mission Monday. And if you have any questions about anything that we've talked about today, please reach out to us, either Pastor Jen or myself or one of the other pastors on staff, Pastor Rob or Pastor Danny or Pastor Todd. You can call the church office at 479-751-4610, and we look forward to connecting with you.